Hello everyone, Jenny here, your unconventional coach, and today we are going to talk about confidence. Specifically speaking, how grief affects confidence. When we look at the word confidence, and if we're lacking confidence, a lot of us will think more along the lines of, how do I feel about my physical appearance? Do I feel like I look good enough? Or our connection to others. Do they like me? Do they want to be around me? And that's what generally people will think about when they say they have low confidence. It's low confidence in their physical self, in their abilities, something like that. But what they don't think about is the different things that actually affect your confidence other than the visual or your relationships to other people. And one of those we really don't think about is grief. Now, grief can be many different things. It can be the loss of income. It can be the loss of your home. It can be the loss of a relationship. It can be some physical health problem that you encounter, a very serious physical health problem. There's really just any number of things, and it can be the loss of a loved one. And a lot of people don't understand that that grief has a significant impact on your ability to do your job on a daily basis, which then in turn affects how successful you're going to be. So, for example, I personally, like many of you out there, have experienced a lot of grief over my lifetime. You know, specifically for me, I'm talking about losing loved ones, right? I remember back in 2010, I had become unexpectedly pregnant with what would be my fourth child at the time. And, everything was going fine. And then I had gone in for my appointment where they're going to, well, they could do a gender check if you wanted to, and let you know if it was going to be a boy or a girl. And so we went into the doctor's office, and something didn't look right on the screen. It looked white and fuzzy, like cloudy. And so the technician stopped the appointment and said they were going to refer me to a specialist. And I knew something was wrong, but I wasn't quite sure what. So I got my appointment for the specialist. It was for a week later. And so that morning I got up and I was going to go down to the doctor's office. And on the way, I felt like something was really, really wrong. And I got to the doctor's office and I went in for my appointment. And I was there. They were doing the exam, and the lady was going really fast through everything, so I couldn't actually see what was on the screen. And then she left and said, I wish you the best. And I was like, that's not good. And then the doctor comes in. And so I'm still laying there. The doctor starts examining. And then he reaches over and he's like, I'm sorry, there's no heartbeat. And I knew right then my world had exploded, right? So because I was alone, I went and called my husband, let him know what happened, and I went home. And I had a full-time job at the time. I still do now. And I remember, I stayed home for 6 weeks for maternity leave because I had to go in the next day and deliver the baby. And I had gone in, and my son, who was home at the time, had the flu, so my husband could not come with me. So I was going to be alone in the delivery room. But my boss at the time was a wonderful, wonderful woman, and she came down to be with me. So she was actually there while I delivered my stillborn son. And so she knew that I was home on maternity leave for these 6 weeks and brought me food, or whatever. But after that 6 weeks, I had to go back to work, right? And this is where this important part of this comes in. I was completely scattered. It scatters your brain when you lose something that's super important to you and you can't find that direction. You can't find that way to find your way back to where you need to be. I would be driving to work and I could no longer sing to songs in the car on the radio. I couldn't focus on what I was supposed to be doing at work. I would just be going off in all different kinds of tangents. And this went on for months and months and months, right? Because it takes a long time to refocus yourself back to where you need to be. And finally one day, I'm like, okay, something needs to change. Something needs to stop because I am just all over the place. And if you're in that feeling of being scattered, like it really feels like you are just in 14 different directions at once and you cannot find your path. And the way to get past that worked for me, was to create a new habit or a new schedule for one thing. And back then, what I had picked was exercise. So I had picked like a race that I wanted to do off in the horizon and built a calendar. So that tiny thing gave me something to focus on every day that was consistent, that would focus my brain back into where I wanted it to be. So if you're in this state and you find yourself lost, where you just can't latch on to that guiding light that you need to have, pick one thing. It can be anything. It can be an exercise thing. It can be, oh, I'm going to read this many pages in a book. It can be, oh, I'm going to, journal this, or I'm going to call a friend every couple days. Whatever that thing is, find something that you can make a habit, because once you follow this habit over this long period of time, as simple as it is, it focuses your brain back in and gets you back on track. So even though the bad thing happened, the loss happened, and it's not going to go away, your brain can stay zeroed in on the direction you need to go rather than following all these little paths everywhere. And I found that after a couple months of doing this, it was much easier to go to work and focus on the tasks that I needed to do and get back to performing at the level I needed to be at, rather than spinning my wheels, sitting there all day long, fluttering about doing random different things. So if you are one of those people who has had some terrible loss in your life, whatever that is to you, try to refocus your mind on a small habit just to get you through the next few months, and then see if that guides you back into that more directed path that you need to be on. Not an easy topic today, I understand, but it's very important because a lot of us don't understand the big impact that grief has on our job performance, how we show up in the world, and how successful we are. So if you find yourself there, just try the simple thing. Give it time. It's not easy, but if you can get yourself to follow this little thing that you set for yourself every day, you will get back there. I can promise you that. It'll take some time. It takes hard work and dedication, but you will get back there. So go out there today and be your own hero and save yourself. Thank you.